Hi, Bijan.
Hey, Pani, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Amazing.
Thanks for driving for so long to come do this.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
How have you been?
I cannot complain. Life is beautiful.
Is this Delta variant COVID affecting your life in any way?
My life personally, I'm grateful to say that not too much. Not really. No, pretty much everything has been the same for me.
But you travel, though.
I do, but I haven't been traveling for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I think that's when it's gotten a little bit more serious, so I haven't really felt that yet.
How was Costa Rica? You were feeding the monkeys.
Oh my gosh. It's one of my favorite places. It's so beautiful. The people, the place itself, the culture. I fell in love, and I can't wait to go back.
What did you do out there?
I surfed a lot. I hung out with the monkeys. I did a whole lot of nothing and just relaxed and hung out at the beach and made a bunch of friends and just kind of just got away from everything and everyone and, just took a step back and just enjoyed every single minute, taking in the culture of the people there. People there are so happy. It was one of my favorite things about that place. It's such a different culture than here. It's here everyone's always running to go do something, always busy, and they seem to be more stressed. And over there it's much more laid back, and people are much happier. They're much happier. You can just feel it when you talk to them, and they're always smiling at you, and they're very friendly, and they just want to help. And I think that was the biggest thing that I enjoyed, was just the people. Yeah.
I bet they are so different. Like, they're just, as you said, like, they're chilling. They're not always running to do something, trying to be productive.
Yeah. I mean, they get their work done. They do what they need to do, and they spend time with their family. They do what's important to them. The place in Costa Rica I was at, it was one of the blue zones. So it's one of the places that people live the longest too. So everyone eats healthy. Their exercise is just like walking from here to there, and what they do for work. No one's going to gyms. I didn't see one gym. Right? It's all like walking and surfing or biking, just life.
Just being active.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every part of it.
Yeah. We're so obsessed with being productive here that, like, I think it would be hard for us to live like that. Like, for a vacation, it's nice. But I had a shoot every day this week. It was kind of a unique week because I usually don't like book every day because it's so tiring, right? Just like on your feet on high heels every day from like 7 a.m. to like 5 p.m. And today I had another shoot. It was supposed to be shorter, but it got canceled. So I had my day off.
Okay. How was that?
And, I was chilling. I was watching TV. And I want to say after like an hour, I started feeling guilty. I started like getting this feeling like, okay, what should I do now? Like, what am I going to do today? Like, it's my day off. Like, what should I do? What should I do to be productive? Like, should I start like filming like something? Should I make some content? Should I do this? Should I do that? And I was like, why can I not just chill the fuck out and just have a day off and just lay in bed, relax?
Yeah. No, you're not alone, for sure. I think this culture has produced a lot of restless people. People don't know what to do with themselves, and they have a second with themselves, and they're straight on their phone looking at Instagram, looking at all these other people's lives, or the million different things they could look at. No one ever just can spend a moment with themselves, and I think that's a lot of why I started making the content that I made, because I saw that was true in my own life for a while, and I didn't even realize it, that I can't even chill for 5 minutes by myself without doing something. Like, something's wrong there, And, it's sad, but there are ways to get better at it and to learn how to just be more at ease and more at peace and just feel better about yourself. Because in this culture, we've kind of been taught that success is all what you have, what you do, how much you accomplish, right? But in reality, in my opinion, in my experience, what matters most is your own experience and how you're experiencing this life. Is it joyfully? Is it miserably, right? I think we lay all these things out on the table, like, I want to do this or I want to get that, because we think it's going to bring us a certain feeling, right, of joy or fulfillment, accomplishment, whatever. But nothing that you do outside yourself. I'm sure if you've accomplished something big in the past, you got it, and it might have felt good for a day or maybe even a week, but then after that, it's what's next. That it just wears off. It's always very temporary if it's from the outside. So I saw that, and I just started asking myself, okay, how can I just get it from the inside? So you hear all these quotes from all these wise people telling you that, right? But you're just like, how do you feel it?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So that's what I've been kind of exploring, and that's what I've been trying to teach people as I explore it myself. But you're definitely not alone. We're in a restless world now more than ever, and it's crazy because we're more comfortable than we've ever been. We press a button and we can have anything delivered to our couch.
Yeah.
Right? And then people are probably more restless than ever, and mental health is worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So something's off here. There's like a bell curve. At a certain point, you can get too comfortable, and
yeah, we're definitely too comfortable.
it seems like it.
It's like we don't work for food anymore. As you said, you just go to a store, buy it, get it delivered to your house. We don't work for mates like we used to.
It's true.
Even that's kind of a click of a button now too.
Everything, A to Z. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have all this time, right?
Right.
I mean, you go to work, you probably go to school, but then you still have a lot of time. I mean, I'm pretty busy, but I still acknowledge that okay, if I wanted to wake up early, get my work done, I would still have a lot of time.
Right. And I bow down to people who know how to just fill up their day with things and can do it just spot on for the right reasons, right? I'm not an advocate for sitting on your couch and doing nothing and just relaxing all the time. That's not really what my message is, but I think if you can do as much as you can for the right reasons and learn how to love what you do in every moment, then do as much as you can, because the world needs a lot right now. One of my mentors says there's two things that matters most. It's the quality of your experience and the profoundness of your activity, right? So it's how you're experiencing, how joyful you are, how much you're perceiving everything and everyone around you, and how impactful your service is to others. What are you doing, right? It would be great if the world was a perfect place and you can just chill and relax, and but that's not the case. There's a lot of issues in the world, which shouldn't be the case. Like, this is the first time ever that we have the technology and the resources to feed everyone, right? Everyone on this planet should have food right now. There's no question about that. Yet billions are starving. So there's a lot that needs to be done. And I don't think it's about learning how to do nothing. It's learning how to do a lot, but not for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of people do things very selfishly, and they're constantly asking, what can I get from doing this? Yeah. Whatever their goals are, it's for them. It's for something that's for them. And I noticed a big shift in my life when I stopped asking that question and instead started asking, what can I give to this moment, instead of what can I get from it? Because there's always something you can give. And there's so much pressure nowadays to, find your purpose and, your calling or whatever. But it's just
your passion.
Yeah, just what can you do right now? What, for someone else, for yourself, what can you give to this moment? That's all you have to ask yourself. And you do that. And then the next moment, the next step will be illuminated for you. And you just go moment to moment. And again, it's not necessarily an easy thing, especially the way that we've been brought up. Like, okay, how do you do that then? How do you go moment to moment? And that's where something like meditation, yoga, all these different practices come in.
Well, there's also this problem that when you do something wrong, you get punished, but when you do something right, you don't get rewarded. So it's like you almost lose this incentive to do the right thing, because you're like, well, then what? Yeah. I mean, you can do it for yourself, right? Yeah. Then it's like no one is rewarding you for doing the right thing, and doing the right thing a lot of times is sometimes it's not necessarily beneficial to you.
I think if you're always giving, I don't think you've ever helped someone without feeling good afterwards. True. So it's not like you're like a selfless saint that just doesn't care about yourself. Yeah. It's just a different kind of reward. It's a reward that for me personally is much more fulfilling than
if somebody gave you money for it.
If I can help someone, that's that's still external, that feeling that I'm getting from it, but I haven't found anything that's more long lasting and fulfilling than just helping.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone feels that, but still in this culture, like you said, it's like, that's not what's cool. That's not what's trending, helping others. It's about how much I can get so I can show everyone else that I'm better than them, or that I'm at this, level of society. It's all a competition here. That's one of the things I noticed when I travel to other places with different cultures, is it's not competition like this everywhere.
Really?
In a lot of places, it's like Costa Rica, for example, in these little communities, it's community. These people help each other. Their focus is on how they can help each other and how they can just be happy together every day.
But do they also try to like individually excel?
Sure. But it's just different. It's not like I'm going to excel at the expense of you.
Well, yeah.
And deep down, I think that's what it is, whether people would like to admit it or not, because they want to get this because their friend over here will think this of them. And especially because of social media, this has just exploded, this need to consume and have more and to be more. And it's just caused so much anxiety and mental health issues. And you're right, it kind of draws people away from wanting to give, because then in their mind, they're losing the race that they've created. Bob Marley said something that when I heard it, it just made me pause and step back. He said, the day you stop racing is the day you win the race. And when I heard that at first, I'm like, you can't just stop racing, Then what? Then what do you do? And then I realized that the whole point is that it's not a race. There's nowhere to go. There's no finish line. The finish line is death. If you want to win the race, then finish it right now. There's nothing stopping you.
Right.
So what are you racing towards? And then once you can kind of step back and look at what I'm doing, why am I doing this? What's important to me? Am I doing whatever I'm doing right now because I want to, that I feel like, it brings me and other people joy, or is it because I think it's going to get me to some place that's going to make me feel good in the future?
Yeah.
And that's a trap that too many people are falling into, trying to get things or get to certain places because it's going to make them feel a certain way. But it never does. People just want to find out for themselves.
Yeah. It's a trap.
Yeah.
It's like, approval is a big part of it. Attention is a big part of it. Power. And I think competition is just like a very inherently human thing.
Sure.
I don't think we evolved to be where we are by being extremely harmonious and just really insanely kind. And I think like there was this like part of us that there's like this grit, right? There's just like, you show teeth when you need to, you get ahead, you're competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think back then we needed to do that.
Exactly.
We needed to, but now we don't. So, but we still have like that like leftover, whatever, the monkey brain. And I think we might slowly like evolve out of it and just like actually become more as a species. I think we are going towards like just becoming kinder and like less competitive. You see it in women too. Like women used to be so competitive. Like I see this as like a very like personal experience. And it's like it's not like that anymore. Like women are not that competitive anymore.
In your lifetime you saw that shift already?
I'm seeing it in like the past few years.
Okay.
Like girls used to like always like just look at each other like, like whatever, like not acknowledge each other.
Maybe that's just your group. You're evolving, so you're seeing different. Because evolution takes time, right? Like you said.
True.
We got to this point, but what got us to this point isn't going to get us to the next point.
Yeah.
And something that we lack as humans is perspective, right? We're a speck. We're a micro speck of a speck of a speck here. Right?
Yeah.
And the whole problem is we're just taking this all too seriously. We're taking our own psychological dramas that we create, that we've created our whole life, that our environment has created, that our family has created. We take it so seriously that it's now more important than reality.
Right.
People don't care that there's a billion people starving because they're worried about what just happened to them yesterday or what might happen to them next week. They're so involved in their own drama.
Yeah.
Everyone's so involved in their own drama the beautiful thing about these practices that I try to teach, like meditation, is it gives you some space and awareness to look through that and see reality for what it is. Because when you see reality for what it is and you see that you're set, you don't need this and that and all these different things that you've been told that you need, then the only thing you can do is help. There's nothing else to do because you have it all. You realize that you have it all already. There's nothing you need to get. When people realize there's nothing they need to get, then the game is over.
Yeah.
And they can play it. They can play a new game of, okay, what does the world need now? Because the world needs so much, right?
Yeah.
But no one's giving it because everyone's so involved with their own life. Their identity is so this mind, this body. What can I get? What do I need?
Exactly. Not what the world needs.
Exactly.
Right. So, what do you recommend we do about that?
There's lots you can do. I mean, for me,
if you had a magic wand, if you were the king of the world, what would you do? What would you change?
A lot of things. One thing that I'm trying to work on, which is one of my projects, is to get, meditation, just simple mindfulness meditation into schools, right? And because it starts when you're, a kid. And if you practice something like you practice brushing your teeth, right? That's what I try to tell people I teach how to meditate is, imagine it's just hygiene for your mind. You brush your teeth every day, so all these things don't happen, right? But people have a hard time with meditation because it's beyond the logical mind, and we've just been so accustomed to live and die by our logical mind. Nothing else really matters to us. And if we can't explain something logically, then it's not real, or
refuse it.
Yeah. And for me, when I started to practice meditation a while ago, it was kind of on and off and on and off, and it's tough to see the real changes in meditation unless you do it consistently. And once I did it consistently, even just for a few weeks, I saw the impact it had on my own life and the people around me.
Yeah.
And immediately I knew that I wanted to help other people with this because of the gift that it was to me. It was just such a beautiful experience. I used to have a lot of social anxiety, especially, and with meditation, I saw through all that. I started to see through all the stories. I started to be more present, right? I started to be more conscious of what I was doing and what I was saying, and just enjoying the moment instead of overlooking the moment for the next one, right? In anticipation. So I think something that the whole world can do is spend 10 minutes every morning and just meditate. And you don't have to buy any beads. You don't have to learn any chanting. You can just sit down on your floor, on your bed, in a chair, close your eyes and follow your breath. There's the simplest meditation. There's mindfulness meditation, right? Just start there. And I mean, I guarantee you keep going, you're going to want to try different things and want to explore it deeper. But just that alone, don't even say you're going to do it forever. Give yourself 3 weeks. Give yourself 3 weeks and meditate 10 minutes in the morning, and you'll see your life transform.
Yeah.
And it's not even a question. It's if you do it every day, it will happen.
Yeah.
But you just have to have the faith to do that. Give yourself 3 weeks. And this is a simple thing that everyone can start with.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's anyone I talk to, and I always tell people around me that I love, I always invite them to stretch in the morning and do breath work and definitely do meditation, right? Those 3 things I do every morning, and I see how much it's changed me and how much it changes my day. So I always, tell people that I love, hey, just do 10 minutes meditation. And the one thing I always hear is, I can't. Why? It's just so hard to not think of anything. It's so hard to just keep my mind empty. And I'm like, you're not supposed to do that. Whoever told you that? You think you could just sit there and just not have anything come to your mind, and when it does, you just feel like you failed. So what do you say to those people, because it's not like people have looked into the right way to meditate and then they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna do this. It's like we hear something, we see it in movies, or we hear it from some friends, and we're like, no, that seems too far from me.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing about meditation. There's a lot of misconceptions because meditation really, there's no real definition to the word meditation. There's so many different ideas that people have, and one of them is, I can't stop my mind. I can't quiet my mind. And that's the thing. It's not about quieting your mind or stopping your mind. It's watching it. It's learning how it works. It's being able to observe your thoughts. You don't have to stop them. You're never going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But what will happen is that as you start to do that, and mindfulness meditation is beautiful because it's so simple, and that's exactly what you do, right? You stay with your breath, and a thought comes up, you notice it, and you come back to the breath. And what happens is throughout your day, when these anxious thoughts come up, you can, instead of being sucked in and then becoming that anxiety, you have that space now that you've been practicing to see those thoughts for what they are, and then just come back to now and realize that you are not that anxiety. The anxiety is passing by. I like to use clouds as an analogy, because you can just watch the clouds come and go. You don't judge the clouds. You don't ever say, that's a good cloud, that's a bad cloud, that's an ugly cloud, right? I've never heard anyone call any cloud good or bad, right? Positive or negative. It's the same thing with your thoughts. There's no negative thoughts.
Right.
People always say, how do I get rid of my negative thoughts? There's no such thing as negative. Who's creating the thoughts, right? You're labeling them positive, negative because of how you're experiencing them. The only problem is not that it's negative or positive, but you can't control that they're coming in and you don't know what to do with them. And they're just coming in and coming in and coming in and constantly overwhelming you with these feelings. But with meditation, it's just a practice of creating space to just look at these thoughts as they come.
Yeah.
And eventually they get softer and less loud and less frequent, but you just see them. You can listen to that voice, and when that anxious thought comes up about what's going to happen next week, you can just look at it and see what it is. Watch it pass by. And when your awareness is on it, anything your awareness shines its light on will dissolve.
Yeah.
And you can come back to right now, whatever you're doing right now, and it works.
Yeah.
It really works.
It's very true. And it's like, whatever you're trying to, well, I don't want to use the word fix, like, in your personality, because I don't think, like, anybody really needs fixing, but it's like you kind of like to, like, adjust a little, right, sometimes. So whatever you're trying to adjust, say, like, if, like, someone has anxiety issues, or somebody has anger issues, or if you're shy, or whatever it may be, when you practice meditation, and this is something that I've experienced personally, when an emotion comes up, whatever it is, a thought or emotion, whatever it is, it gives you this window right before you react to it, where you kind of get to, like, go, how do I want to handle this? And for me, like, that helped me with, like, anger, right? Because, like, instead of just, like, getting sucked into an emotion and, like, just reacting a way that you wouldn't want to, saying something that you wouldn't want to, you're later going to regret, it gives you this, like, window of, I don't know, 1 second where you feel like you have control. You know, it gives you this feeling like you have control. You're not just getting carried away by whether it's a thought or an emotion. You can decide whether you want to go with it, or if you want to abandon it, or if you want to change it, if you want to leave it. So that control it gives you, well, you can do a lot with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the space, right? That's a space that you're creating.
Right.
Is between your own thoughts and your psychological drama and everything that you've created, right? All these thoughts that are giving everyone so many issues, and what's actually going on. You realize that these thoughts and whatever you're worried about is not happening right now. You realize that there's nothing to be worried about right now for the vast majority of people. And I'm not talking about people who don't have food to eat tonight and don't have a roof over their head. This is different. This is not for them. This is for people who don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, but are suffering so much because of their thoughts and anxieties and their own psychological drama. This is for them, because they shouldn't be suffering life. They should be enjoying it. This life it goes by like that, and each breath you take is one less breath you have, right? And you shouldn't be suffering that. You should be enjoying and exploring every single moment and possibility. And, you know, meditation is a practice to be able to do that, to be able to experience more life.
Yeah.
The fact is that no one's here right now for their life. You might physically be here, but most people, you look around and it's not very hard to see that either they're on their phone looking at whatever they're looking at, or they're so preoccupied in their mind. They're just so restless, thinking about something that probably just happened to them, or thinking about, you know, what's going to happen later tonight. And they're just so in their head. No one's here.
It's like you're either in the past or in the future.
Yeah, they're either living in their memory or they're living in their imagination. It's one of the two, right? They're either, I mean, it's very rare, and you see someone who's present and they just look like it's a weirdo or something. Like, I'll walk around and sometimes I'm just so present. I'm just smiling and I'm looking at the flowers and the tree. And in the beginning when I was doing this, I'm like, man, I look like such a weirdo right now. No one else is like walking around like this. And then I realized I would much rather be a weirdo that enjoys life in every single moment and every little thing, that's just constantly worried and thinking about something that's not happening right now. I think we need to see a lot more weirdos.
Yeah, you're definitely very zen. This is my second time hanging out with you, and like last time we hang out, even like your voice, like was your voice always like this? It's so soothing.
I don't know. It's my voice. It was actually one of my biggest insecurities when I started making videos, which is funny because it's probably what people like the most now is my voice.
Yeah.
I think it's slowed down a little bit and gotten a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Weirdly, as I've gone through my journey, but I don't really know.
It's very soothing.
Thank you.
And so now you teach meditation, right? How long have you been teaching meditation for?
I started guiding meditations about a year ago. About a year ago, yeah, I started, and it's never something I thought I would do. Like, not in a million years. If you told me even earlier that year that that's something I was going to do, I would think you were crazy.
Why?
Because
it seems so fitting.
It does now. It does now, but you know, I've changed so much, and it's changed me a lot. My meditation and all the things that I've done spiritually with my practices, that now, you know, the videos that I make and the content that I make, now it's like fitting. I was like, oh, I can see that. But, you know, if you ask my friends from a couple years ago.
Did you used to be a rager?
I wouldn't say a rager, but I was just the crazy kid who would do anything. Like, just do anything. In my family, I was a kid who was always getting in trouble. Probably the only kid.
So hard to see.
I know. But, yeah, you know, as you evolve, you become something that you might never have thought you would have become. And it's hard accepting that sometimes, and like looking back and from your old perception being like, oh, what am I doing? This is, you know, it's kind of weird.
What did you think you were going to be?
Oh, I had no idea. I had no idea, but definitely not something like this.
When did you get into this whole Zen lifestyle, and when did you start meditating?
I started meditating consistently probably 3 years ago, and I started with 5 minutes a day because I was very restless, very, you know, it was hard for me to sit down. It's very difficult for me to sit down and just do nothing. I was always like needing to go do something.
That's what seems to be everyone's problem with meditation.
It is. Because people give it like a day or 2 days or 3 days and like they just give up. Like, what am I doing? One of the biggest problems with meditation is that you have to go beyond the mind, and people don't know how to do that. They'll sit down and they'll practice meditation, and their mind will tell them, you're wasting your time. What are you doing here, sitting with your breath? Subconsciously, right? And they don't know really what's going on, but they believe that. They think they're telling them themselves, right, that you're wasting your time. Stop doing this. Go do something productive. And I got that thought so many times, but I just kept going. And, you know, it's kind of weird. I started meditating because of Kobe Bryant. It was a weird inspiration for meditation, but he was always my hero. I did everything that he did. And I saw a video one time on YouTube that he meditates 10 minutes every morning. And then once I saw that, I'm like, okay, if Kobe can do it, like, it's Kobe. I'm going to do it too. And so I did it, and I stuck with it. And I said, I'm just going to give myself a month, see what happens. 2 weeks of just 5 minutes a day, and my entire life just like transformed. 5 minutes a day. And everyone around me noticed it too. So it was strange. And I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way this could just be the meditation. This is too much. I would just find myself smiling for no reason.
After how long?
2 weeks.
How?
I don't know. I think, you know, as I've gone through my journey, I think, you know, I've realized that I've always been a meditative person, whether I've realized it or not.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit quick for me. But yeah, I was just so joyful for no reason. Nothing was bothering me anymore. It wasn't like instant everything in 2 weeks. It was kind of gradual, but in 2 weeks I started noticing. I remember one incident very clearly that I was going to work and I got out of my car. My coffee spilled all over me, hot coffee, like burned me all over my uniform. And I just sat there for a second and I just started laughing, like just giggling. And then I thought a couple minutes later, I'm like, that was weird. Why did I not get like upset? Why was that just so funny to me? Right.
Yeah.
And I'll remember that because that was about the 2 week mark. Yeah. And that was beautiful. It's like the reaction, like you said, you have that space of how you want to react. And subconsciously, I decided that I want to react
this way
with laughter.
That's so true. Yeah. I would say that's the best thing I've gotten out of meditation. It's like I feel like I have control over how to react way more than I used to.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that's everything.
And also when a lot of thoughts come to my mind, whether they're just like, as you said, like as we label them negative or intrusive or whatever, I'm able to just kick them out. I'm like, I'm not, or if I'm like stressed over something, I'm able to just be like, okay, not right now. It's Saturday night right now or whatever. I'm not going to worry about this. I'll think about it Monday. Whereas before, it used to like ruin my time because it would just like take me.
Yeah.
I would just get stuck in this feeling, in this thought. And then like I would like create scenarios in my mind all the time. I still sometimes do. But not as much. A whole lot more control.
It's a journey, right?
It's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But I'm not where you are 100%. Like, I know it.
Well, you don't know where I am, and I don't know where you are. That's the beautiful thing about it. I could just be pretending right now and just be like super anxious.
Shit.
Yeah, you just don't know, right? You never know what's going on inside someone's. I'm not super anxious, but
yeah. Did you used to be?
Yeah, I did. Anxiety was a big thing for me, social anxiety especially. And I realized it was from, people I really looked up to and cared for, were saying things to me and just always trying to bring me down, and because of their own insecurities, right? And that really took a toll on me and made me believe that, I'm not enough, and really what a lot of people are feeling right now, that anxiety of not feeling like enough, like they're not doing enough, and like everyone else has it figured out except for them.
Yeah.
Right. And then, meditation was a big part of me seeing that for what it is and getting over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't see anxiety in you.
Yeah, I haven't felt it in a while.
Yeah.
Anxiety, anger, all these things, it's beautiful to take control back from your life. I mean, if your external circumstances are controlling how you feel, then you're not in control of your life.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
That is.
So if someone cuts you off in traffic and makes you angry, you gave them the privilege to make you angry. And people think, oh, but I can do so much with anger, right? It's a powerful emotion. It's powerful, but it's not lucid, right? You lose yourself when you're angry. And you can do things that may not be the best for you or people around you. And, something like mindfulness and meditation, someone can cut you off in traffic, and anger, you can see the possibility of being angry, and then you can transform that into compassion and make up a story. Like,
their mother's probably in hospital. Yeah, they're going to.
And then that affects your experience.
Yeah.
You getting mad at someone doesn't do anything to them, good or bad. They don't feel that. You feel that. It's like the Buddha said, right? It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's what anger is.
No.
Anger affects you and no one else. So all these things, taking control back and just, I want to experience my own life. I'm not going to let anyone make me angry or upset or jealous or anxious. That's my life. Why would I let anyone else play around with that?
It's true, but people have a lot of control over how you feel. I wish they didn't. I wish you had 100% control, but it's like people can definitely affect your mood.
Yes, and that's true. But for me, and something that I've, strived for on my journey is to not let that be the case.
Yeah.
Because just because it's the reality for most people that someone else can change how they feel doesn't mean it has to be the reality for you.
Right.
J. Krishnamurti is a beautiful spiritual teacher. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's from the 1900s, and I think he's not around anymore, but beautiful man. And he was asked what's his secret, and he said, I don't mind what happens. That's my secret. And it's such a simple saying, but if you just look at it, it's really, really, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is whatever happens around me, I know that that's not me, and that doesn't have to have an effect on this.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful to remind yourself of. I don't mind what happens.
That's something that comes up in books a lot, not having an attachment to a specific outcome. And I think it's very true. It's like when you have something in mind and you want to somehow control and maneuver everything to get your particular way or get your own favorable outcome, that's when you stress, because you have like one thing exactly in mind. You're like going, and things go wrong all the time. Like things don't go your way a lot, like most of the time. Most of the time you're not getting what you want.
That's been one of the time. That's been one of the biggest things for me is the art of surrender and letting go of expectations altogether. And when I say that, I need to be careful, because then people are like, what are you going to do? Sit on the couch all day? You don't have any expectations. You're not going to do anything. Yeah. But I didn't say lower your expectations. Get rid of your expectations and place all of your energy on what you're doing right now in this moment. Because isn't that all that matters? Isn't that all that you have right now is this moment? Isn't that the only place where you can actually put your energy?
It's the only time you have control.
Right.
So no other time do you have control except like this exact moment, the present.
So the practice is to learn how to do that, to learn how to put all of your awareness and energy on this moment, because if you do that, you're guaranteeing the best possible outcome for you. You're going to far exceed any expectation you could have had for yourself, because any moment that you spend trying to figure out what something is going to get you or what something is going to lead to is energy that you're taking away from what you can be doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's been a beautiful practice to surrender that expectation and again go back to asking, what can I give to this moment? Because everything is connected. This is the beauty of the game. What you give out will always come back to you in one form or another. So, like I said, it's not being a selfless saint that, oh, look at me, I'm such a great person. It's understanding the nature of life. Yeah. And the nature of what needs to be done. And a lot of things need to be done. It doesn't mean you're not going to be, rewarded for it. You are. That's not going to be your focus, that, oh, I'm going to get this because I'm being a good person. No, but you're putting out love and good energy and whatever is needed in the world, and in some form or another it's going to come back to you.
It shows up. Yeah,
always.
It's true.
Always.
That is very true. And to go back to what you said, you were like, maybe I'm faking right now and like maybe I'm super anxious. This is how I know it's not true, by how you make me feel when I'm in your present. Because when someone is anxious or angry or filled with ego or whatever it may be, when you're in their presence, somehow, especially if you're like in tune with how you feel internally, which I am, you feel it. And it's like in your presence, like I feel very calm. I feel like even I speak like a little like calmer and softer, and I like jitter less. It transfers, like your energy like transfers. So I was gonna say that's how I know.
Okay, cool. I'm glad.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I think we were talking about surrendering expectations and just giving everything you can to this moment. That principle alone changed my life. I created the 3 A's, which is really all you need to worry about. Is 1, awareness of this moment, right? Just be aware of what's happening in this moment, not what's going on in your mind, not whatever you're worrying about. What does this moment hold? 2, acceptance, right? Accepting this moment for what it is. Whatever's happening in this moment is happening whether you like it or not. You can't change it. You can't. It's happening right now. The next moment, there's endless possibilities for you to create. But in this moment, you can't do anything about it. So you need to accept what's happening in this moment. And then third, take action. Take action on what you can do to make the next moment better if this moment isn't ideal for you, right? What can I do right now? That's all that matters. What most people do is, if life isn't going their way, they spend all their energy complaining about why life isn't going their way and wishing things would be different. And then life just continues to not go their way because they build this pattern.
Yeah.
But instead, if you can just accept, okay, this is what's happening right now. It might suck, you know, in a lot of different ways. It might suck, but what can I do? That's it. Because if you just wish things would be different all the time, that nothing's going to change.
And then actually doing it.
And
then consistently doing it.
Right. It's a practice.
Consistency is the thing, right?
Of course.
That's where the hardship really is. Because it's like you can figure out what. Sometimes you get like these moments of clarity. Sometimes you get insight. And you look at something, you look at a problem, and you just get this, like, you know, flash of genius, and you figure it out. You're like, this is what I need to do. You know, you write it down, you're excited, you like create goals, resolutions. And then, you know, you do them for a little bit, and then you lose it.
Yep.
Because consistency is really what it comes down to with everything.
Everything.
Whether it's work, whether it's fitness, whether it's relationships. It's like consistency is really key.
It's true. And, you know, give yourself a fighting chance. Like, do what you can. There's science on all these things. You could research anything you want, but you give your mental health a chance to feel like that more. Meditate, eat good foods, right? Go out in sunlight, you know, go out in nature, stay away from toxic people and toxic content.
And don't be toxic people.
Yeah, exactly. Just you need to just be aware of what you're surrounding yourself with and what you're consuming, because when you start doing the right things, then it's much easier to be consistent in anything.
Here's a problem though. That doesn't easily apply to everyone. I was out with this guy, and he was practically telling me all his exes were toxic, and he didn't sound sorry or upset about that. He was happy about that. And I very shortly realized that that's his type. He asked me, like, are you toxic? I was like, I am in no form or shape toxic. And he seemed disappointed.
Wow.
Right? And I also noticed that the things in me that he picks as things that he likes are all the negative things in me. So I soon realized that, okay, this is one of those guys. There are people who like toxicity. There are people who like drama, and it goes back to their childhood and, you know, their parents and whatever they gave them or kept from them that somehow turned them into enjoying drama and toxicity. So it's like, yeah, for people who want to be, you know, calm and zen and all these things that, like, let's say me and you like, then yeah, they have to figure it out and then be consistent, and then they can achieve it. But then how about like these people who are on the other side of the spectrum, like people who enjoy negativity? It's like, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not teaching people how to be calm and zen. That's just a byproduct, I think, of what happens. It's teaching people how to be joyful with themselves and not need anything externally, including whatever it is, whether it's needing toxic people around you.
So if that brings you joy, are you saying, like, if negativity and toxicity bring you joy, then just keep going with it? Or is it that, like, no, you have to turn that into, like, something better, something positive?
It's finding a way to just eliminate it. Eliminate anything outside, like finding that feeling that you get from these toxic people within you, because that's the only way it's going to ever be sustainable, right? If you constantly need to find toxic people to be around, I mean, that's a problem by itself. But anything that you need to constantly do so you can feel happy is a problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, these things that we're talking about, like meditation, just help you not need anything outside of yourself. That's the whole game, is to not need, whether it's toxic people or whether it's coffee, right? Whatever it is that people need to feel a certain way, to realize that you don't need that. And you can find whatever feeling that you're searching for within you, because it's always right here.
How can you find that within you, though?
With these practices.
Like the fun of the drama that, like, let's say a toxic girlfriend can create, that can create a lot of stimulation for you.
Sure.
It's fun. It's ups and downs, and it brings a lot of emotions, and a lot of people really like it, whether they admit it or not. And it's always the people who say, I hate drama. Because, like, if you hate drama, you don't say I hate drama. It's always people who say I hate drama that, like, actually love it. So it's like, how do you replace that stimulation that you get from all the ups and downs of, like, an emotional relationship like that? How do you find that within you?
I think it's obviously different for every person, but you know, some people, it just depends on when they're ready to, and some people might just have enough. Like, I'm tired of dealing with these downs to feel these ups. Right? For that's a lot of people, like, after their last toxic relationship, like, I'm done. Yeah. And some people won't get there in this lifetime. They'll just continue to play and you know, ignore the lessons that are given to them, and they'll just keep doing it. But eventually people figure it out. There's always a lesson in every experience. And, you know, the more you ignore the lessons, the harder it's going to get next time, right?
Yeah.
Life is going to keep teaching the lesson that you need to learn, that if you don't listen, it's coming back harder, and it's coming back harder. And you probably experience this, right? Everyone's experiences, whether they realize it or not. So eventually people are going to learn, and if they don't, you know, that's on them.
And sometimes you need to see a therapist.
There's a lot of things you can do, right?
And I mean that in a nice way, because it's like you have to figure out the root of why you enjoy having so much negativity in your life. You know?
Sure.
Like, why do you like that?
Yeah. That would be very helpful for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to go in to look at yourself.
Yeah.
People have, it's, including myself, everyone, it's difficult. It's the hardest work you can do, is to look at yourself and look at, you know, who you are and what you've been doing.
And critically, not like
with like a clear lens.
Yeah.
Not with the story that you've created about yourself in your own life. Right? That's tough. It's really tough. So I'm not saying it's easy by any means, and I'm not saying that, you know, and again, this isn't for the people who are really, really struggling. It's just something that everyone can do. Take a little bit of time every day. Everyone has 10 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes. If you want to start like me, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I started with 5 too.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, give it a little bit of time and see what it does, because that opens up everything.
Yeah.
That it opens up everything, and then you can really dive in and go deeper if you choose to.
Yeah, I was watching this documentary on meditation, and, you know, they took this guy who's been, like, meditating since he was, like, really, really little. And they took fMRIs of his brain and a bunch of other people who, like, meditate consistently every day, and then, like, you know, people who don't. And their brains are actually physiologically different. He starts talking and he sounds different than other people. Like, he's just so, you can tell he's so present, and he's so, has no attachment to results, to outcomes, and he's just, like, happy with anything and everything that happens.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean,
he doesn't have a care in the world.
Yeah, for me, the reason I realized that I wanted to start teaching meditation is because I asked myself the question, you know, what's the greatest gift I can give to the world right now? And then I asked myself, what's the greatest gift I've given myself? And that was, you know, as cliche or weird as it may sound, life. Meditation gave me life back, because I actually experience it now. I experience everything that's going on around me. When I'm with someone, I experience them, right? I'm not in my own head worried about what they're thinking about me or what I'm going to say. I'm there. I'm experiencing it, right? I'm there for each moment. I don't want to miss this life.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it. I don't want to spend my whole life worrying about what's going to happen next. This whole idea of the pursuit of happiness, right? It's so broken. It's the pursuit of happiness is exactly what's stopping people from being happy. Because if you're pursuing something, it must be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? You can't pursue something that you already have.
That you have, yeah.
So everybody is overlooking this moment for some other moment because they're pursuing happiness. How about you spend your life expressing your joy instead? How beautiful would that be? Right? And again, it's a skill that needs to be taught because we haven't grown up like that. We've been taught to pursue and pursue and pursue, and we end up 80, 90, 100 years old and look back and say, what was I pursuing all that for? I missed the whole show. And
then it's too late.
It's too late. Like, this was, Alan Watts, this was dance, right? It was
Yeah.
supposed to be dance and enjoyed. It wasn't supposed to be overlooked for the next dance, right? This is whatever you can do, however you can experience life, you do it in this life. You do it right now in this moment. That's it. So when I started to feel like that experientially, I didn't read a book about meditation and read the benefits. I'm like, oh, I'm going to teach that. That's cool. No, I felt that. And then I realized that's the greatest gift I give myself. So I want to give it to as many people as I can, because people are missing the show.
Yeah.
Everybody's missing the show. And this is a beautiful show, regardless of all the hardships that people are going through.
Yeah.
It's a show. Like,
Yeah.
be here for it. Otherwise, you're going to look back and realize that you missed it all.
And you're killing it too online. Like, you have really, really loyal fans. I told you this last time we hung out. I never really watched people's lives, but you go on and I like come watch it and I like read people's comments and they're like obsessed with you.
Yeah, I mean, community is big for me. And that's something I've been doing, is I've been building a meditation community and a place where people can come and practice every day.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. People have a hard time doing it on their own, right? But the support I've gotten has been amazing. Just knowing that people are resonating and that they need the messages that I've been putting out has been great. It's been super cool. And I'm super grateful for it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So what things are you working on right now? What projects, what exactly do you have out? Where can people find you? Where can people do your meditations?
Sure. So I'm working on a lot of different projects. Some of them are a little bit too early to talk about, but one of them is my nonprofit organization called Loving Now Foundation. That's the name of the YouTube channel right now. That's about all that's up for it. But we're doing live meditations every single day. I have 6 or 7 volunteers who help guiding. Each person has their own day that they guide meditations. Every day, 6 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube. Beautiful, beautiful community of people, just somewhere you can come and practice and be every single day. You can find me on social media, mainly TikTok and Instagram, at Life with Bij, Beej. Haven't posted in a few months. Kind of been taking a little break, focusing on the other stuff. But yeah, going forward, I'm really going to start focusing on that organization, the community, just to spread mindfulness, and like we mentioned before, to places that need it, like schools are a big focus of mine, prisons, big focus of mine, retirement homes, anywhere that people are, because there's not one person that doesn't need, I feel, these teachings and these practices. It could help everyone. So
that would be awesome. Imagine like in prisons, like all the criminals are lined up meditating.
People have done it, and it's beautiful and it's inspiring, and it's kind of tough right now because of COVID to actually do that. So just waiting for the opportunity to open up, and that's one of the things I'm excited about most, because if you think about the situation that a lot of those people are in, they're locked up for the rest of their life for maybe one decision that they made. We've all made bad decisions in our life, and that decision cost them their freedom, their physical freedom from experiencing life, right? A lot of us are psychologically prisoners, right? I like to use the example of just we're in a prison of our own mind, and it's very rare that people get out of that. Meditation is one of the ways to get out of that and to experience reality. But like we talked about, people are either suffering their memories of the past or they're suffering their imagination of the future. Yeah. Constantly. It's rare that people are just here and sitting here and can just sit and be happy.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Isn't that like all the things that humans have done and accomplished, and all the science and technology and the building that we're in, right? We can't sit down and just feel good.
It just doesn't come naturally to us, like most good things. Like most good things, you have to work for them, right? You don't just get a 6-pack.
Sure.
You have to work for it. You don't just randomly get a degree or like an amazing relationship out of nowhere. You have to work for everything. And this is like one of those things, like inner, what do you call it, like peace, I would say.
Your
is like
inner experience.
Yeah, you don't just get that.
Right.
You have to like make a conscious decision of like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, whatever that is. Meditation is only a part of it.
It's only a little part of it.
A little part of it, like self-awareness, self-development. Like
the thing about meditation that was so appealing for me to start teaching is that it opens up everything, every aspect of your life. It opens up and allows you to see it for what it is. It allows you to see what you need to stop doing as much of, right? A lot of times it's not what can I do more of, what habits can I build, it's what can I get rid of. We talked about maybe it's the people that you're around, maybe it's the diet, maybe it's, you know, the people that you follow on social media, whatever it is.
Sometimes it's yourself.
It's always yourself.
Yeah.
It's always yourself.
Like, they're just like little things you need to fix within yourself for you to be happier.
And just to be aware of. Like, oh, I'm doing this to myself. This is all me. All my suffering is my making.
These two guys that made this meditation app, and then we're going to wrap this. I forget their names, but they made this really popular meditation app called Headspace.
Sure.
Probably heard of it. I was watching one of them talk about like how they teach mindfulness meditation, and he was like, again, people have like such a problem with just sitting there and like not having any thoughts. And what I tell them, and this really resonated with me, is that imagine every time you bring your attention back from having a thought to the present moment and to your breath, it's like a bicep curl. So every time you do that, like think of it as this practice, like a workout. Every time you do that, you're strengthening that muscle in your brain that understands and gets strengthened. That, okay, I can do this. I can bring my thoughts back. It's not supposed to be like with the first time, second time,
100%.
the first month or two. Just like eventually you learn, you get really used to this way of like taking a step back and finding your control in that present moment. And that really resonated with me. That bicep curl, I was like, I get that.
That's a great example.
Yeah. My mind goes all the time, and I've been meditating like every day consistently. I want to say like 2 years, 10 minutes a day, and still, like, does yours go too, or are you just like?
Oh, it goes. It's always going. It's always going. But another example that I mentioned earlier, like the reason I like to compare it to brushing your teeth is because when you stop brushing your teeth, there's going to be problems. Yes. If you stop brushing your teeth, you could be like, wake up one morning and smile in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to keep brushing, right? That's a trap that a lot of people fall into with meditation is maybe after a few weeks they've stuck with it and they start to feel good and their anxieties are going down a little bit and they're like, okay, I'm good. I can probably take my foot off the gas and I don't have to meditate today. Look how good I feel, right? And that's where the problems come back, right? That's a trap that I've fallen into. I'm sure everyone who's gone down that journey has fallen into it. So just like brushing your teeth, it's something that you have to keep on doing. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like when you sit down in the morning, that's a good practice. But as you go on throughout your day, just doing that, noticing when the thoughts are coming and, you know, asking yourself, a lot of times, something I used to ask myself a lot when these intrusive thoughts would come in. I would just ask myself the question, what is stopping me from being joyful in this moment? And I would realize when I asked myself that question that there was nothing stopping me except myself and these thoughts. And if that's a constant practice, if you just practice, another great way is coming back to your breath, right? Because your breath will always bring you back to the present moment. Whenever you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, stressed out, you take a couple deep conscious breaths and you're going to feel already 20-30% better, like instantly. You do that for a few minutes and you're going to feel a lot of times all the way better. Yeah. Right? Because your breath is always going to bring you back to now. And right now, these things that you're worrying about don't exist. Yeah. And all there is peace. Yeah. Very true. Thank you so much, Bijan. I had so much fun talking to you. Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me. We'll have to do this another time because all the questions I told you I had for you, remember? Yeah. Didn't ask any of them. Didn't even grab my phone. Didn't open the laptop. We just kind of like had a flow with this conversation. I loved it. That's okay. Yeah, we'll do it again soon. All right. All right, everybody. Bye.